match. Index and match like that. Index and match. Index and match. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would again want to repeat this. I really don't believe that there is anybody who can call themselves an accountant who do not understand advanced what? Advanced Excel. If you don't know advanced Excel, you are not supposed to be an accountant at all. At all. At all. You can't convince me otherwise. Now, with me here is a file that I would want to share with us. Right? A very important file which I would want to share with us and ensure that we understand the index and the match concept. We need to understand the index and the match concept. Index and match concept. Index and match concept. So I don't know whether there is anybody who has got this file in their emails. If you have this file in your email, could you kindly share this file with us? Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you are given this kind of information, somebody gives you this kind of information, you can see it's information that I normally use to teach the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP functions. So those functions, ladies and gentlemen, that we normally use to look up for particular items, in an Excel worksheet, in an Excel workbook. Here, we happen to be lucky. We have a few brands. How many brands are these? If you count them, the brands are not so many. I can see Samsung brand, Canon, Sony, Fuji, Panasonic, Ricoh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now with these 6 brands, if I'm interested in picking one brand alone, like the Sony, I'll easily come and get Sony here and tell you that Sony is a Japanese model. The model itself is DSC, whatever. Megapixels here 14.1, LCD monitor is 2.7 inch. So that has been quite an easy thing to do because of what here? Because these brands are very few. But what if the brands were to be in thousands and thousands? Will you scroll through looking for one brand alone? This is a problem that I've seen, ladies and gentlemen, facing so many graduates of CPA accountants who go for interviews in serious organizations. Serious organizations, they will give you a spreadsheet of, say, 15,000 items in the interview. And then what they will do, they'll ask you to look for a particular, say, item, a particular item. Very many of them will stay there for 3 hours and they'll not be able to do what yet to return any information about that particular item even after those 3 hours are over. And yet, we have powerful tools like the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, like the index and match, which you can use, ladies and gentlemen, to ascertain whatever you want. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want us to begin this thing in a simple way. If, for example, I come to any cell here, and I would want to index, I would want to index something simple. I would want to index. So come and say equals. That is the first thing in Excel. You activate the cell by saying equals. So equals, so please type there index. Equals, you can see index by pressing I and D. Already I can see index has popped up. Index has popped up. So this index, ladies and gentlemen, once it pops up in a blue label like that, what I need to do is to come and tab. So when I tab like that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm able to see 2 indices. I can see the first one, the second. Mostly we use the first one. And the first index, I can see what they have organized for me here. They are telling me index, they want me to give them the array, row number, column number. So the index, the array, I would want to look for a particular brand under the brand column. I would want to look for Sony. So what I would want to do is to come straight away and highlight this column like that. Highlight that column. Once I highlight that column as my array, that particular set of information that I would want to get my brand from, that column there, what I need to do is to come and follow this particular pattern after array. They want row number. Assuming I want, for example, an item which is in row number 4. So I'll simply say, first of all, comma, and then I'll say 4. 4, of course, this is in column 1. In column 1. So I press 1 like that, and then I'll be able to come and do what here? I'll be able to come and close my bracket like that, and then I'll say enter. So when I say enter, index is able, ladies and gentlemen, index is able to give me the item in my lookup column which is in the fourth row, which is in the fourth row. So in the fourth row, if you count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're able to see it's Fuji like that. That thing may not make a lot of sense to you now, but for an accountant who does not know how to index, who does not know how to ascertain the matches, you'll always have a big problem. So I would want you to repeat the same. I don't know whether you have this particular table. I would want you to repeat the same. If you have got this table with you there, kindly repeat the same and then tell me whether you're getting it. Do you have this table, ladies and gentlemen? Do you have this Excel worksheet? No problem. Allow me to come and show you something here. How about the match? So for the match, what I'll do, I'll come and say equals, equals, press MA. Once I do that, I can see match has come up and it's blue labeled. Blue labeled means I tab, don't press enter. So you tab like that, it's asking for the lookup item, the lookup value. So the lookup value, here I'm looking up for Fuji, assuming it's Fuji I want. Then I'll say comma, Once I say comma, ladies and gentlemen, the next item they want me to give them is the lookup what here? Array. So lookup array, the lookup array, I would always go for the first because I want the brand, I want Fuji. So the lookup array is this one. So I'll come and copy like that. From there, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come and say comma. Once I say comma, they're asking me to state whether I want a less than, just like in linear programming, or a greater than, just like in linear programming, or an exact match. For us, ladies and gentlemen, we always go for an exact match. In CPA, accountants, we go for exact match. So you click on the exact match, I can see it's blue labeled, so I'll come on the tab. Once I tab like that, I'll say shift, and then I close my bracket like that. So when I do that, ladies and gentlemen, what am I able to see? Match is the opposite of index. So match has returned the row number. Match has told me that Fuji is in row number 4. Fuji is in row number 4 like that. Now somebody must be wondering of what help will this thing be if it is only able to give us the row number. Ladies and gentlemen, trust you me. Once you understand this index and match thing today, you will remember me for the rest of your life because this thing is going to make you see places that you've never seen before. It will make you see places, yes. Now come here, now we go to straight away the eyes. Icing on the cake, icing on the cake. What do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? The icing on the cake. What we have here is a situation where these people want us to match some items. They want me to match Sony and tell them Sony comes from which country? Sony is which model? How many megapixels does it have? What size of LCD monitor? So what I'll do, I'll come and say equals there. Once I say equals, let's begin with match. So I'll come and say match. So I can see now match is blue labeled. So once it's blue labeled like that, I'll come and tab. So when I tab like that, the next thing that I can see they want me to select is the lookup value. Lookup value is a lookup item. So I'll come and press on Sony. When I press on Sony, ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well. This is something that I would want you to understand. This is something that I would want you to understand. When I click on Sony, I realize that Sony happens to be part of column G, which is an external column. So being an external column, external columns and external rows, it needs what we call anchorage. So this one should be anchored. This one should be done what here? Should be anchored. This one should be anchored. I would want you to, the moment you understand this, you have understood the entire Excel. The moment you understand what is to be anchored. Ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well. In finance in Excel, whenever I'm dealing with a table, a table like this, whenever I'm dealing with any table, external column, you know there are many columns. External column and the external rows must always be done what here? Must always be anchored. External column and the external rows must always be anchored, must always be absolutely referenced. What have I said? Anytime you are dealing with a row, or rather with a table, you know how a table looks like. This table, of course, will be having so many columns. So external column must always be done what here? Must always be anchored. Must always be anchored. So ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me well. Listen and listen to me well here. If you look at G, G happens to be a what? G, ladies and gentlemen, G happens to be, column G, happens to be an external column. If it's an external column, you must come here before G in your formula, just before G in your formula, there. You anchor it using the dollar sign. You anchor it using a dollar sign. So introduce the dollar. Come here and introduce the dollar. So dollar is upper 4, that is shift 4. For those of you who have been in my Excel classes, understand what anchoring is. There is very little you can do if you don't understand anchoring of cells. You normally anchor cells using that dollar thing. Using the dollar thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come and continue now with my work here. So with my work, I'll come and put here a comma. So once I put a comma there, I can see what they want me to do. They want me to give them a lookup array. First of all, allow me to go through I can see the students who are asking questions. Now, they're asking whether, or rather, there are some students who are not able to hear me. Are you able to hear mwalimu? Mnanisikia kweli? Mary anasema yes, and we are ready for this. Index and what here? Index and match. And there is a student today here who will get a big present from me today. So right, so I'll come back to my formula here. So in my formula, I've done what? I've picked the lookup value and I've anchored. The next thing is a lookup array. What do I want? I want Sony. And this Sony is found under the brands. So I need to come to this particular column of brands and highlight that column in full. Highlight the column in full like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well. This column that I've highlighted is an external. It's a column made up, or rather it's an external column, which is column what here? Column A. Which is column A. which happens to be an external column. An external column. And if it's an external column, ladies and gentlemen, automatically this means that I need to do something. So A has to be anchored absolutely. A has to be anchored absolutely. And of course, we also need to anchor this particular top row, the Samsung, row 3 and row 8. In short, whenever you see parameters coming in red, you can see in my formula here, I have red cells. Whenever you see these cells being red, you're supposed to anchor everything. So in that regard, you need $4. So you'll come and introduce the $4 easily by pressing F4 is a shortcut. You press F4, F4 is the shortcut there. You'll be able to see the dollars coming, or you go to each one of them, and introduce the dollars there. Dollar before A, dollar before 3, dollar before A again, dollar before 8, like that. So once you do that, what do you need to do? Come and place a comma there. From there, ladies and gentlemen, I can see the next thing they want me to do. The next thing they want me to do is to give them whether I want an exact match greater. So here we want an exact match. So if it's an exact match, we simply click on the exact match. It's blue labeled. So if it's blue labeled, I tab. And then what do? I'll come and close brackets like that. And then I'll come and enter. So once I enter like that, match has returned what it normally returns. Match has told me that Sony is in row number 3. Sony, if you count, 1, 2, 3. Sony is in row number 3. That does not help me. That does not help me. What I would want, ladies and gentlemen, is giving me information about what I have asked this thing to do. So then how do I bring words under a few things? How do I bring words under a few things into this particular match thing? What I need to do is to come and click on this particular cell. I go back there. Once I go back there, I need to come and index this match. So I need to go here immediately after equals. I need to go there and put my cursor immediately after equals, and then I'll be able to type index. Once I do that, I can see index has popped up with a blue label. If it's blue label, I need to come and tab. You'll have to excuse me because I have to keep on admitting students. You should not leave anybody outside. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm back here. So what have I done? I've come here, pick the index. Once I pick the index, I know that we normally use which index, ladies and gentlemen? We normally use the index which is on top. We normally use the index which is on top here. And this index on top, they want you to select the array. So which array? Remember here, ini kama bwana na bibi. I want to match and index the brand here, which is Sony, versus who? Versus the country sales. So I need to come here side by side, and then I highlight this. Same size, just with what you had highlighted here for the brand. And then of course I'll say comma. Once I say comma, I'll have to remember that here there are things that must be anchored. Kuna maji lazima ufungie ama maji yatoka nje. Uzuri, hii ni column ya katikati. So column B cannot be anchored. Column B can't be anchored. The only thing that we have to anchor, ladies and gentlemen, here, the only thing we have got to anchor, ladies and gentlemen, here, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing we need to anchor, allow me to go back. Allow me to go back here. The only thing that we need to anchor, in this formula, ladies and gentlemen, is what here? You see, this row 3, the row 3 here is an external row. Because for index match, you don't highlight the titles there. So Excel assumes like the 2 are not there. So row 3 is an external row, and row 8 is also an external, ni ya chini. Ukicheza hapo maji tatoka. So kuja hapa, introduce dollars before 3. So shift dollar, and then come and introduce dollar also before what year? Also before 8. Also before 8, introduce the dollar there. And once you do that, you need to also be very observant. Once I finish, I must ensure that my brackets are okay. The bracket that I have is a red bracket. We can never allow to have a red bracket at the end of this all. So I need to come, ladies and gentlemen, and introduce a black bracket. So shift, black like that. And then I will enter. Once I enter, what am I seeing, ladies and gentlemen, being displayed here? This thing is telling me that Sony comes from Japan. Sony is a Japanese model. And once I've done that, my work now becomes very easy. My work now will be to drag. My work will be to drag. So what I need to do is to come and drag this. I'll come with my small plus here. So I have my big plus, put my small plus there, and then I drag across. So once I drag across, what am I seeing there? I'm seeing now all the information about Sony being displayed. That Sony is a Japanese model. It is a model of DSC whatever, megapixels 14.1. It's a 2.7-inch monitor size. And then of course I'll now drag down, I'll drag down here, and then I'll be able to pick information about Panasonic. I'll be able to pick information about Panasonic. And if I wish, I can still drag down like 1 or 2. I can drag down this like that. So that now this one will be for the automation. So for the automation, if for example, I want another brand like Fuji, what I'll do is to come and just type there Fuji. Once I type Fuji without even looking at the capital letters or whatever, I'll simply say enter. When I say enter, you can see it is returning information for me. So regardless of the size of the worksheet now we have, doesn't matter whether it's a 20,000 row worksheet. Once I know how to use index and match, I'll be able to pick figures from my big worksheet without really hassling too much, So I would want to pause a little bit to allow you guys to ask questions. I would like to pause a little bit to allow you guys to ask questions. Then I'll repeat once more because I would want to repeat. I would want to repeat the whole thing. But before I repeat the whole thing, are there some students who have been able to see some light, however small, however little? Are there some students who have been able to see some, what does anchoring mean? Will appreciate if you repeat, that I will do. Is there somebody who has been able to see something, however small, especially on the importance of Excel to accountants? No, the lesson is not done. Actually, I've just started. It's 127. Vero says, wow, we're just starting. Just got in now. I can get something. I'm happy as an upcoming financial analyst. Yes, financial analyst, you need Excel. So I can see most of them are saying, Mwalimu, repeat, and I don't mind repeating. So I would want to repeat, and I would want, in this case here, to start with Daudi's question. Daudi is saying, why introduce the $sign? I like that. On the index, if the products are many and you don't know the row or column of the product, what do you key in? Gloria, you know, you can't really start looking for a product that you don't know its row, a product you don't know its column. I only began showing you this index tool, right, in the way that I did for you to appreciate it. Otherwise, index in isolation is a useless tool. It only becomes powerful when you combine index and match. And that is why it was able to replace VLOOKUP. That is why it was able to replace, in this case here, HLOOKUP. So if you allow Mwalimu here, emphasize on cell referencing, anchoring. Emphasize on cell referencing and anchoring. So then what I would want to do is something very simple. Tukuje hapa. Hii cell referencing ndio nikufunze. Huwa naanza kuonyesha wanafunzi multiplication table ya primary school. Sijui kama mnakumbuka multiplication table ile ya primary school. Ile mlikuwa mnapata nyuma ya kitabu ya Kasuku. Tulikuwa na kitu ilikuwa inaitwa multiplication table, ilikuwa inakaa namna hii. Tulikuwa tunasema 1 2 3 all the way to 9, 1 2 3 all the way to 9. Tulikuwa tuna multiply, mwisho kabisa hapa tulikuwa tunapata 81, 9 times 9. 9 times 9. Ama 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 2, something like that. So I would want us to make this multiplication table in a minute. Within 1 minute, how do we make this multiplication table? Within just a minute, how do we make this multiplication table? So what I'll do, I'll come here and I press 1 there. I have 2 there. Ladies and gentlemen, once I press 1, 2, remember Excel is a sniffer dog. Excel already has known what I want. Multiple zangu haziingiani at all. Multiple zangu haziingiani at all. Multiple zangu haziingiani at all. Because ukiangalia vizuri, what has happened here, ladies and gentlemen, is that once you have Excel picking like 1 times 2 is 1. Excel has been created in a way that it goes down 1 row at a time. So it will always pick the concept that you gave it. So like 1 times 1 gives you 2. So the next one will pick 1 times 2, which will be 2. The next one, if this is 3, this is 4. The next one will pick 2 times 3, which will give it 6. 6 times 4, give you 24 like that. So to avoid Excel going down 1 step at a time and following the initial processes that you had put in, you need to anchor. You need to anchor. And what do we need to anchor, ladies and gentlemen? Listen and listen to me very well. What we need to anchor, I want you to understand this. What we need to anchor is the external row and the external column. Like now I have my 1, 2, 3. This column here has to be anchored. And this row here as well has to be anchored using the dollar, Now listen and listen to me very well. So here I am. I'll come here. So what I will do, I'll pick this cell where I began from. In this cell, I know for sure that column C has to be anchored because it is an external column. So in your formula, look for where C is. Where C is, I can see C is there. It's blinking. So what I need to do is to add the dollar. So come and put the dollar sign there. The other one that I would need to anchor is this row. And it is row number 5. Row number 5, look for number 5 wherever you're able to see it and put a dollar before it. So shift, dollar like that. So now from there, now I'm okay. When I click like that, now I can easily drag this. I can easily drag it down and copy the formula throughout. Brilliant. Now you can see imeingiana because of proper anchorage. Na sababu imeingiana because of proper anchorage, now I can come and drag the entire thing up to the 9 and 9, and I'll be able to see 81 at the end of the day. 81 at the end of the day. 81 at the end of the day. So there is no way you can say that you are a financial modeler in Excel if you can't even make this kind of a multiplication table. If you can't make this kind of a multiplication table. So is there somebody who has now appreciated the concept of the dollar sign? Is there anybody who has been able to appreciate the concept of the dollar sign? Is there anyone who has appreciated the concept of the dollar sign? Yes. Yes, the concept of the dollar sign. Before I repeat, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The dollar sign. The dollar sign. Unajua problem ni moja. Kama jana nimekuwa ninafanya some consultancies for Carefree. I hope you know the Kenya Forestry Research Institute. I'm training them Excel, and of course we are the ones who are helping in launching of their ERP. So, and I got beautiful people over there, great people over there. Wanakuambia tumetumia Excel for so long. Great. And you can see they are brilliant. But trust you me, the kind of Excel that I found out that most of them have been doing is the normal Excel. It's not advanced Excel. Hiyo ni kama kujua Excel kama 10%. Advanced Excel is a very powerful model. It's a very powerful model. It's a very, very powerful model. If there is anything that you need to do, ukiwa mwanafunzi wa accounts, ni kujifunza hii advanced Excel. And I always keep on telling you, join us. Join us, wengi mnakataa kutujoin. And we are charging you a very modest rate, just 5,000 shillings a whole month. 5,000 shillings a whole month. We train you how to come up with the income statements, how to automate, for example, your income statement, making procedure, etc., etc. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Adan is asking, how do you know you are supposed to anchor the column or the row? This one I've really explained. Because of time, and I would want to finish this. Adan, maybe you could be left behind. You could be left behind, and then we look at, because I believe I've really explained this. The concept, I even tried by drawing this. The external row, external column. Those ones must always be anchored. Wow, new concept. I've gotten a new idea. That's it. Eureka moment. Now let's get back to our question here. Let's get back to our question. Our question is here. So the question is here. So first of all, I'll come and highlight what I would want to delete. So Control Shift like that, Control Shift down, I delete. You'll even get people simple shortcuts of Excel, they don't know them. So what I would want to do very fast here is to come and activate this cell. How do I activate it? By pressing equals or plus. Equals is the powerful one, equals. And then you start pressing match. Once I start pressing match there, I can see match has popped up. So this match which has popped up, I need to say tab. When it pops up in a blue color, you don't say enter, you'll get error. When it comes up in blue color, you tab. Tab is this particular button which is on top of the caps lock, So once I do that, I can see what it is asking me to do, to give them the lookup value, which is Sony. Lookup value, which is Sony, which I'll come and put a comma. But before, whenever, ladies and gentlemen, I select any cell, I must look for a particular item, column or row to anchor. Like in this particular case, if you're following, between G and the 3, which one do you think should I anchor? Between G and the 3, somebody talk to me. Between G and the 3, which one should I anchor? Which one should I anchor? If none, tell me none. So between G and 3, which one do you think should I anchor somebody here, having selected this? Which one do you think should I anchor somebody between G and 3? They're not talking to me. Kopesha is saying 3. Kopesha is saying 9. Emily is saying 3. You are muted when you are explaining anchoring. I really doubt. I hardly mute myself. So the students who are correct here, you know it can't be 3. Let me explain to you why it can't be 3. If you look at row number 3, if you follow this row number 3 all the way, it's something that is in between, right? Here, basically, for the entire table, we'll highlight the column. This column that is outside here. So I need to come and anchor G. So we say shift $. Once I do that, now I can come and continue match. So after lookup value, the next thing is the lookup array. Remember, match, unlike even index, match, just like how soldiers march, match can only be undertaken along a column or along one row. Unajua kama ni soldier ukifanya parade ile gwaride, unapomatch. Ukianza kumatch kwa row mbili ama column mbili, wewe utakuwa ni askari tangatanga. Unatanga kwa row za wengine. So match is always one column. And because it is Sony we are after, ladies and gentlemen, it's Sony we are after, we'll come and straight away highlight the one of Sony paka mwisho like that. Just one column. You cannot take two columns at a time. Now remember, this has come in red. So whenever it comes in red, that one, hakuna hata question. You simply anchor by putting dollars all over. After that, ladies and gentlemen, come and put a comma there. Once you put a comma there, they have brought you what kind of a match do you want. Of course, in finance, we don't want guesswork. In finance, we want exact matches. So I'll come and look for my exact match, and then you say what here, tab, because now it's blue ticked. And then I'll come, ladies and gentlemen, and say what here, close bracket. So I close my bracket like that. After that, I don't even need to say equals. I just need to come here and pick the index in front of the equals. Later on, I'll be explaining to you why I normally begin with match. I'll be explaining to you. So I need to index this. To index this, no problem. It's just press there. I already just popped up tab. So in the tab, so the index array, the first thing they want me to give them is an array. So I need to know how to match my things. If this is a Samsung that I picked here as a column, and they want me to match this in terms of country sales, I'll come to the column of country sales, and then I'll be able to do what? I will be able to select like that. One-on-one. Nikwambia ni kama bibi na bwana, wala ambao lazima watoshane height. Kama toshani height, hakuna mahali tunapelekana. Match and the index, lazima toshane height and breadth. So after that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll come and say comma. But again, remember here, you must know which cells to do what here somebody. Which cells to anchor. Mimi kama mimi nimezoea Excel sana. Kama sasa hapa nikiangalia, there is no way I will anchor B. I can't anchor B because B is a middle column. So if it's a middle column, I can only anchor the others kuzuia maji isitoke hapa na kuzuia maji isitoke hapa. So here I can't anchor B in both, but now I'll anchor the others. So I'll come and say here, shift, $. Then we have shift, here 8 pia. Into explainia mzuri. It's only that you guys don't want to join my classes at Excel, which I'm giving them to you for almost nothing. We charge so expensively to teach people advanced Excel outside here. So very soon talipa pesa mingi sana. So hii bracket ni red, it has to be black. You don't delete it, you simply come and add another one there. And then that is it. So you come and say enter there. When I say enter, what am I seeing? Japan. So now I should be able to just drag. Kazi yangu ni kudrag tu sasa. Kwisha. Ikifika hapo, nitakuja tena drag kwenda chini. Like that. Na nikisha drag hapa, hata hapa katikati nikitaka kuchange anything. Hii ndio uzuri wa Excel. Excel is all about automation. It's all about automation. If for example I want information about Canon. So kwa interview, wakuja waniambie kwamba wataki Panasonic, wanataka Canon. I'll not repeat the entire process. I'll just come and delete the one they don't want, like Panasonic. I'll come and just write here Canon. When I say Canon like that, and then enter, you'll be able to see straight away Canon's information coming up. Canon's information, Japanese, whatever, and that is it. That is it. So please now ask questions again. Last questions before I do something different. We do something different. Now, Mary anasema namna gani? Mary anasema kwamba anataka one-on-one class. One-on-one class haileti shangwe. with this Zoom, imagine like the students I normally teach, I'm able to allow them share their screen with me. And then they are able to do what here? To do this as I watch. That is why you normally get like the previous class about tulifanya, advanced Excel. Ilikuwa na 150 students. And I'm able to handle each one of them through Zoom. Ingekuwa ni physical class, haiwezekani. Na kama ni physical class, pia unataka one-on-one, it's 30,000. 30,000, I should be able to take you through the entire what year advanced Excel. Like, I would really want to discourage these one-on-one classes. That one I can't promise. I can't promise that. Daudi, we are joining. When is the next intake? The next intake is October. October intake. October intake. What you need to do is to take our Paybil number. You take our Paybil number. Our Paybil number is 402. Paybil. So kama wataona, Paybil number is 402 956.9. And then the account number is your name. Account number is your name. So Paybil is 402 956.9. Account number is your name. And then straight away, once you pay, you need to send us a message to our school phone number, which is 0719 525 what year? 1,000. 0719 525,000. So Paybil, I'm repeating, 402. Actually, I should even just type this. If I typed it there, it will be much better. 402 956.9, and then the phone number is 0719 525,000. Yeah. Wanafunzi ambao hawajajua Excel, ukiwaambia lipa Excel 5,000, anakuambia pana, that is too expensive. Sababu haujui. This is a game changer. It's a game changer because of its ability. For example, if you're using ERP system, ERP or SAP system, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you must move information from ERP to Excel. ERP haitakuallow kuchora graphs. Excel itakuallow kufanya vitu yote, uchore pie chart, uchore graphs like that, which the board is able to really understand easily because the board does not have time ya kusoma through everything like that. Right? So James anasema so informative, I need to register for this. You cannot go wrong. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with this. So remember the fees is 5,000. How many months? Only 1 month. Only 1 month, you'll be good to go. Just 1 month like this. After the 1 month, you'll be able to do your bank reconciliations automatically. You'll be able to do an income statement automatically. After that 1 month, if again we move together, you'll be able to join what we call financial what year modeling, which now entails the entire of advanced Excel, now with an extension of a possibility to value organizations using what we call the discounted cash flow techniques here. You take like a company, you project cash flows in the future, and then you discount like that. You discount like that. So 1 month daily? No. It's only twice a week. But of course, with intensive exercises for you to be engaged in. Is there a certificate? Yes. Branded RCM, of course, signed by the principal, who is myself here. And of course, once people see that you've been trained by Aura himself outside there, I'm so sure people know how good I am in Excel. Excel will simplify whatever you are doing in a big way. So can I take the last questions? Last question. Afraid of weekend classes, hope no weekend lectures. Like currently what we have, we don't have any weekend lectures. We don't have weekend lectures. We have classes on Monday and Thursday. So no weekend classes for now. Brief timetable for the class, great. So it's only Monday and Thursday. We maintain that throughout. Sawa, asanteni sana. Any other thing? Timing, we normally do them from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. But we are hoping our president will be lifting this curfew on Tuesday, right? Once they lift the curfew on Tuesday, now we should be able to go back to normal. 8 to 10, that is quite late. Very many students complain with that timing. That's quite late. So once the curfew is lifted, then we should be beginning our classes from around 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Mimi kama kuna mtu alinisaidia ni mtu ambaye aliniambia mambo ya advanced Excel. Nikajua. You see, with advanced Excel, I'm doing something currently for iGuard. Yeah. Carefree. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll be able to see what I normally do on Excel. My Facebook page is Joshua Aura. Joshua Aura ACCA. ACCA Mentor. Joshua Aura ACCA Mentor. Go for the one that has got many followers, about 4,000 or 5,000 followers. Unajua siku hizo wanaangalia wakiona umeanza kuwa popular, somebody forms Joshua Aura ACCA Mentor. Lakini unapata uzuri anakuwa na watu wachache. So na ile kuna watu wengi. Joshua Aura ACCA Mentor. You'll be able to see the kind of things I normally do. So 8 to 10 p.m. I guess is the correct time. For now, yes. But once Uhuru lifts the curfew, we'll be able to go back there. But the most important thing, is there somebody who has appreciated this Excel? The power of Excel. From what I've just done, is there somebody who is seeing really that this thing can help an accountant? Yes. So Mercy is asking a very good question. Can you do CPA and ACCA? If I have a choice between the two, I'll never go to CPA. I'm not even shy of telling even Catholic people themselves, the CEO is a friend of mine. This thing is at times not working out. Because like myself, I got to know Excel also so much because of ACCA. You know, ACCA from the first paper you go, exams are computer-based. So because of them being computer-based, they don't allow you to go to an exam with a calculator. Even in their textbooks, if you look at their textbooks, everything they'll ask you to do your exercise in Excel. They'll hide figures there like now revenue. How do you map up revenue? How do you map up cost of sales? So that at the end of the day, as you do your consolidated financial statements, Excel should be able to match and remove, for example, all intra-owings, intra-sales, should be able to match automatically like that. And that is why if you guys are working with any student who has gone through ACCA and who happens to be strict or rather good with whatever they are doing, you will see there is a big difference between ACCAs and CPAs. Yeah, because ACCAs automatically from the word go, they adopt what here? They adopt technology. And that is why you'll never get any ACCA student asking you for physical classes. You'll get all ACCA students struggling with ICT in whichever ways. Ukiambia saizi mwanafunzi wa ACCA atakuja nikufunze F9 kwa darasa, atacheka sana. Atakwambia mimi nipatie videos, nataka kuona vile unafanya hii kitu kwa online, because that is what ACCA is advising them and telling them it's important for you to become global accountants. You can only become a global accountant if you are able to speak another language other than your mother tongue, Kiswahili, English. So if, for example, you're a Kenyan accountant who is able to speak fluently Chinese, and you are able, in this case, to translate financial statements here from Chinese to English, or vice versa, KRA will be fighting for you. So many Chinese firms will be fighting for you. That's how you differentiate yourself. And then, of course, you come and add in that knowledge, Excel, you'll go places. So I hope, Mercy, I've answered you. Kindly, Mwalimu, send that Excel data. Yes, I'll be able to do. Excel landed me 2 interviews and met a senior CEO. So important, yes. Thank you very much. Austin, is CIFA better than ACCA? No, you can't compare the two. ACCA is at a very high level. What you need to do is to do this ACCA after you are CPA. You do ACCA, and then of course, as you do, even before you go to ACCA, you need to join these particular classes, you become good in Excel. Because if you're not good in Excel, ACCA will embarrass you so seriously. Okay, so I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. And perhaps what we could do is to throw an offer and say that any student in this case here who pays now before when? Who pays on or before Saturday of this week, on or before Saturday of this week, gets a 20% discount. Gets a 20% discount on this Excel. If you pay on or before this Saturday, as you await for the October intake. Straight away, you get yourself a small gift over there of 1,000 bob, 1,000 bob. So otherwise, it has been a pleasure hosting you over your lunch hour. Let me not extend or exceed. James says, why not month end? Month end, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have money. Month end, you need to pay us in full. James, month end, you need to pay us in full, 5,000. In your offer, you're offered something so that you can struggle. You can struggle. You press deeper. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will leave, of course, the chat room open. You can continue, of course, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, asking questions over there, chatting like that, if you have the time. Otherwise, thank you very much.